All right. So I mean, we've been recording fan reactions, and we've had some great thoughts. I think about today's game, which was Game Three. Leafs went up 2-1. Uh, it was a beautiful game overall. It was playoff hockey. I'd love to see a win. I don't care if it's 7-1 or 2-1. 7-1 feels more comfortable. 2-1 reduces my, bowel movements. But hey, that's life, right? But one thing we cannot neglect, something that we absolutely have to address, something that I think is very important for the hockey universe to really digest and come together to discuss because it's really important, is it was 4-1. It was fucking 4-1. I mean, hey, listen, we're Leafs fans, all right? So absolutely, we've been eating this shit for years, since 2013 or whatever. Like, we've been eating this shit for years, and no one lets anything down when it's related to the Leafs. And I'm sure people still won't. And like I said earlier too, I saw someone arguing that, hey, it was worse that the Leafs did it because it was in Game 7. Yes, we made it to Game 7 against a Stanley Cup finalist.
Yeah.
Okay, it was Boston. They were a cup favorite literally every year that year, and we had to run into them every time. And yes, they owned us. They slapped us. It wasn't fun. You lost 4-1. You were up 4-1 to Winnipeg. Yeah. Winnipeg barely got in. What the hell was this?
Yeah.
Also, just want to point out, we blew it with 11 minutes left. They blew it with about 8 minutes left in the third. So
also, you have Connor McDavid having a year that I don't think we ever. There were points in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, that I didn't know if we'd see many 100-point seasons again, because the dead puck era really sucked, right? I mean, hockey was great, but I'm saying you thought that kind of thing was gone, and then all of a sudden,
there's still Ovi doing Ovi and Sid doing Sid, but that's about it.
And then Connor McDavid comes out of nowhere and puts up 100 spot in what amounts to half a season, and it's ridiculous. And now all to waste.
Dude, I go ahead, Moss. I'll go first.
You know why that is? Is just open up Edmonton Oilers and their scoring, and then look at the forwards. You have Connor McDavid with 105, followed up by Leon with I think 75 or 76. Then the third highest scorer has 30, and it's RNH. And the fact that their GM...
No, hold on. You're forgetting the second coming of Norris. That is Tyson Barrie.
No, I said forwards. That's why.
Because
we don't talk about Norris Trophy winner Tyson
Norris is on that team. Tyson
Barrie, $8 million player. Tyson.
He's an absolute. He's a GOAT. He needs to get extended for max contract. But go on.
So, for me, all this boils down to one quote this season after the trade deadline. When Ken Holland had the audacity to say, you have to pick and choose which years to go all in. We can't go all in every year. Connor McDavid is having a season that is once in a lifetime for people to witness. It's prime Lemieux, prime Gretzky, and prime Connor McDavid, 105 points in 56 games. If this is not the year to go all in, what counts as a year to go all in? You have the greatest player on the planet absolutely hauling your ass to the playoffs. You give him one German to help, and that's it, saying everybody else are fucking fourth liners. You two get all the scoring. Oh, you scored 3 points for us? We're still going to blow a 4-1 lead. What the fuck?
It's insane. I got into it with someone on Twitter yesterday about which I think it was a Habs fan actually that was trying to say our loss was worse. Here's what I'll say. You guys have hit on quite a few points already. Most of them are the same points that I made yesterday. Edmonton has 200-point guys. Our team was led by Phil Kessel and James Van Riemsdyk. Edmonton has
absolute legends.
Edmonton has the best player in his generation. He is unbelievable, and he put up 3 points last night. And Draisaitl had 2 goals. There is no way that you lose that game. No way. And to think that, and it wasn't like it was like a dominant performance from Winnipeg. I was watching it. Both, the second and the third and the fourth goal were goals that probably shouldn't have gone in. Like Mike Smith melted down. The defense was to be seen. They were sloppy all over the ice. Like this wasn't like when we blew it. I still remember that Matt Pratten post that should have put it away. Right? There was opportunities for us to win that game, and everything just seemed to go against us. Just things didn't work out, but we never should have been there in the first place.
Yeah.
If that wasn't a lockout shortened season, I don't think we make the playoffs. We've got two guys on our team that are capable of scoring like at a 70-point pace in JVR and Phil Kessel. And then there's really not much beyond that. And then our defense was Dion Phaneuf, and I don't remember a single other player. We had Jake Gardner, who was like coming back after a concussion. I don't know. This was post-concussion Jake, so he wasn't the same.
Also, we were down 3-1 in the series, and we clawed our way back to make that a 7-game series.
Exactly. So, I don't want to hear it. This is, if Edmonton loses tonight, this is the new, it was 4-1. And we have, like you said, Maz, passed it on to Edmonton. The curse is officially lifted. And we can move forward and focus now on taking up our mantle as the best team in Canada. And
I thought you were gonna say we can focus on like telling Connor McDavid to come home. But all right, cool.
Dude, I've been putting out trade proposals. People are getting mad at me. Here's the thing. I want McDavid so bad, but a lot of people are saying I don't want to give up Matthews, and I agree. After watching McDavid and Matthews play together at the World Cup of Hockey, I would give anything to watch those two play together.
We were one lottery ball away. One.
If we get McDavid, though, we're not getting.
We don't get him. We're not getting Matthews. So, like, yeah, I agree.
Like, in an unbiased, we're attached to Matthews because we've seen him for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
In like a completely, if I was a fan of Minnesota and I'm watching it, you're taking Connor McDavid.
Yeah, in a 1-for-1 deal, you're taking him, and we're attached. But I think there's people on Twitter saying you need to add to Matthews. No freaking chance. If you want to offer me McDavid for Matthews, objectively, I'll take that deal. As a Leafs fan, it's hard for me to say yes because I want to keep him so bad. I want both of them. I think you put a deal together. This was my proposal yesterday. I said you put up Marner, Riley, and then throw maybe Robertson and then 2 firsts in there. I would.
Wait, what's your center core? McDavid, Matthews, Tavares? What?
You play McDavid or Matthews on the wing on the first line. I don't care, bro. Those two are playing on the same line. Austin's gonna score 75 goals, maybe 80, and McDavid's gonna drop 200 points. It's it's my dream. It's never gonna happen. But
I mean, because we're in the playoffs, like I'm not gonna, like I don't want to trade away any of our players yet. Like your proposal, I think is interesting, but I'd like to see McDavid on any other team, just so, in my opinion, Draisaitl gets exposed. Because in my opinion, he is not anywhere as good as people fucking make him out to be.
He's not a 100-point player. I think he's a good player. I think he's still like a first-line center on most teams, but he's not a 100-point guy. And
he's not McDavid, Matthews, Eichel level. No, he's not that
conversation. And I think that if you put McDavid on another team and he drags like, I don't know, think of a random team. Let's say Sam Reinhart gets put on his wing in Buffalo. Let's just whatever. Sam Reinhart's like a 90-point guy with playing with McDavid. Like, like it's the people don't realize, and there's some people on Twitter that I kind of have.
Did we just lose his audio for a second?
Yeah, we just lost your audio here.
What was the last thing?
You're good now.
I'm good.
Reinhart 90.
Yeah. So what I was trying to say was, I think that if you put McDavid on any team, the guys playing with him are going to score at like a point a game pace, just because he's going to score at like a 2-point per game pace, right? So it's inevitable. He is inevitable, and I think that ultimately, like anywhere he goes, Edmonton would be the laughingstock of the universe for blowing that talent. But I think that I just want the kid to get a chance, and it's hard to watch what's happening to him right now. Because
just give him any help. I'm a Leafs fan. I only want the Leafs to win. Another Canadian team sucks. I'm happy about it, but just it's so sad watching someone just absolutely haul a team into the playoffs and just try his ass off, and is a generational talent and has one guy to help him.
Yep.
On a team with 12 forwards, has one other guy that's helping him consistently.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? That team got like, I don't know what, 70 first overall like picks. In theory, that team should be
You know who
stacked.
would look great on this team right now? Taylor Hall.
Peter Shirley's the GOAT, man. Peter Shirley's the GOAT.
Holland's a go, but you know Shirley's right behind him.
Blows me away.
He traded Taylor and Tyler. You can't beat that.
That's true. Oh, damn. Oh man. If they lose this series, if Edmonton loses this series,
I know, by the way.
what does their offseason have to look like at this point?
Acquiring another high impact forward. You have to go and get somebody that's going to put up 60 plus points. It cannot be McDavid and Draisaitl, and the rest of you drop 30 points. And most of those points are basically McDavid helping you get those points.
You know what the other issue with Edmonton is that I don't think a lot of people are talking about? Mike Smith overperformed this season.
Yes.
And a good GM would have seen that and been like, I still need a second goalie.
Yeah.
Like when Fleury was available for a second round pick in the start of the season, I don't understand how Edmonton wasn't all over that.
It makes no sense to me because my thought process here is, you know, it's Mike Smith. He's 39 years old. This dude is going to fall off a cliff at some point. That fourth goal last night cannot go in. Like, it wasn't high. There wasn't a ton of traffic. Like, Cop skated across him, but it was like, it was low. It was, you've got to have that. Like, and I think that, like, the thing for me with Mike Smith is I've been calling him a fraud the whole season, but people are trying to tell me it's like the second coming of Ed Belfour or something. Like, I don't get it. Like, people were talking about him in the Vezina conversation.
See, I don't know if it was this off season, but I think this is last off season is when they signed Koskinen to that 3x15 deal. I think they went into the season thinking Koskinen was going to be their starter. Mike Smith overperformed and overtook the starting job. Now the problem is Mike Smith is choking it. Koskinen, I don't know why he ever got that contract. And what, you have no goaltending prospects. Like, what are you going to do? Like, McDavid can put up 3-4 points a night, but if 5 go into your net, you lose.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a defense. You've got Darnell Nurse, who, again, people are overrated because he scores like 30 points because he's playing.
He's really good, though.
He is really
He's a good defenseman.
But and then you got Adam Larson, who I know was huge for Gaussian fantasy this season. But again, that was a terrible trade, and he was hurt for quite a bit of the season too. But like, their defense is not going to blow you away. Like, I would look at our defense and say that we're solid 1 through 6. I think they've got maybe 2 or 3 really like solid defensemen, nobody like really, really good. So I don't think they're gonna win you a series. You've got 2 forwards, and then you've got 0 goalies. So that team, and the thing is, I don't know who they trade to bring people in, right? Because you can't trade McDavid, Draisaitl, because that's who your team is built around. You can't trade Nurse, and then you've got to get who is your trade chip. Like, you're not going to be able to bring good forwards in unless you sign them in the off season. But who is going to want to sign for a team that literally gets just lost or nothing to Winnipeg?
You also have the problem of attracting players down there too, right? Like, you know, it's getting people there. It's the same problem that Toronto has in the NBA. Like, getting people to play there isn't that easy. I mean, it's people do refer to it as Edmonton at points, and it takes, you know, it takes certain people and certain personalities to really want to be there. Wanting to play with McDavid is the great equalizer, so I think that does help. But I don't know,
because they've got really bad contracts. Like, they've got Zach Cassian signed for like 2 more years.
I think Cassian, yeah, you're right.
They've got James Neal for another year after this year. Like, there's some bad contracts on that team. Like, people want to talk about the Leafs cap situation, but we've got a team. Like, Edmonton is in like not the best cap situation, and they've got like,
actually Cassian's signed through the end of 24.
Yeah. So like, what are you supposed to do, right? Because no one's gonna take him from you. So
you gotta hope your prospects like Holloway and stuff come in next year and it can actually make an impact for your team.
Yeah.
That's or I,
But they don't.
it's a lost cause.
To be honest, I don't know that they have. Yeah, I mean, they don't have a crazy
No,
amount.
they don't have enough to change the fate of their team, right? Like to all of a sudden have forward depth or a
Do
stud.
what Dubas did. Say fuck first round picks. I need to win now.
Yeah.
Every year with Connor McDavid should be a year you go all in.
I totally agree with you, and I think the only other thing they can do, and this is a bit like getting wild, so I'll be done after this point. I think you got to trade Draisaitl and maybe try to pick up a package of like 3 or 4 really good players, right? Because I think Draisaitl is someone you can oversell because he's so been blessed to play with McDavid that people probably rate him because people put him in that conversation in that like Matthews, McKinnon, like maybe just like under them. So he's viewed as like a top 5 player in the game. I don't think
He does have a good contract.
Yeah, and he's got a solid contract. So if you trade him to get maybe like 2 70-point guys and a good defenseman, then all of a sudden you've got like more people around and McDavid can pull those 70-point guys up to like 80, 85, right? So
The thing is, what team would want to let go of 2 good players and a good defenseman and maybe a prospect for 1 really good player?
I think
who's
like
open to that?
I think you got to find a team that is like a step away and like just needs that elite talent. So that's it for me. I'm going to kind of wrap up because I got to head out, but that's it from my end. If you guys got any final thoughts on that, I think Edmonton's in big trouble. I think they need to overhaul it because I can't see McDavid putting up with this for more than like maybe one season. I think if I was him, I'd want out this season, but that's me being biased.
From what I've heard like about him personally, that he's not like, I know outwardly we think he's like Sid and everybody else that will put up with this and likes to be the good Canadian kid. What I've heard of Connor is that no, like he so badly wants to win that he would be willing to demand a trade at some point.
Yeah.
He'll try to win there, but he won't. But yeah, I think that's about it for my thoughts too, other than laughing hysterically before and after. And yeah, all right, cool. So that's good.
Yeah, that's it for me too. Just sad to see a player just waste his talent away. Another one in Edmonton.
Yeah, but Edmonton fans have been assholes this year, so yeah. Have fun.
Take that. Both of the top 2 in that draft, eh? That's the crazy part. Is like 2 of like that draft was looked at as like 2 of the best players in this generation. Both are now like struggling.
That draft was insane, and number 1 and number 2 have done everything they possibly could for their dog shit teams. And now number 2 wants out, and number 1 wanted out the second the lottery ball said Edmonton. Did you see his face? 6 years later, you see why his face was like that.
Yeah. All right, man. So that's it from us, guys. Hope you enjoyed our discussions today, our rants, and our roasting of our roast of the Edmonton Oilers.
They did tie it up, by the way. It's 2-2.
Oh,
yeah, 2-2.
All right, comeback is on Tyson Barrie. Let's go. All right.
All right.
Have a good time. We'll check you guys after the game tomorrow. All right.
See you tomorrow night.